Oops. All right, so we are officially recording. As a reminder, this is a high flex class, so I will be recording all lectures. But again, all that's gonna be private, so you don't need to worry about that. Getting out there. Get you guys copies of the syllabus. I found that right. So for those of you who were here for statics earlier, this is gonna look really, really familiar. If you weren't here for statics, great. That means this will be new to you with that. So things are formatted the same for very specific reasons, besides just the school gives us a syllabus. It helps. So same general stuff. So general class information, talk a little bit about myself, talk about Canvas, talk about some stuff for the class with that. So about me, I still have 2 cats. It's the same photos, it's the same slide. But I did get a message from my partner that Riga is currently sitting outside of my office door meowing because she thinks I'm in there. I'm like, that's really sweet, but you saw me leave and you were mad about that earlier. So while they are black, they are very orange coated and they're 1 brain cell each. We joke that sometimes when they're close to each other, their 2 brain cells talk together and they have better ideas. Oops. But know why that's good. Well, so I'm Dr. Corinne Gray, please call me Dr. or Professor Gray. University of California, Merced, where I got my bachelor's in physics, PhD in material science. That is the building I was in. So not very fun. So imagine a building like this, but instead of, they did the floors 1 at a time. So I was there and they redid the 10th, 11th, and 12th floors, which was fun, other than you could hear them. So some general class overview stuff. So this class, if I'm being 100% honest, I am redoing a lot of it in comparison to when I taught it a year ago. I'm using a completely new textbook. I think this one's going to be a lot better set up for where we are in terms of math as well as prerequisite knowledge. So we'll spend a lot of time building up kind of that foundational knowledge for it. So with the announcements, yours will definitely be going up on Sunday, maybe sometimes Monday. It'd always be Sunday. You'll have the links in there, so fingers crossed. This is my plan, is you will at least have the lecture for Tuesday on there. Thursday might not be quite complete yet with that. So if you're not physically in class and you're watching the lectures, right, I'm still going to recommend you watch them Tuesdays and Thursdays. And the lab stuff with there as well, which will be the Wednesdays. I'll recommend it for that. So because I'm redoing this class, stuff is going to be constantly getting updated. So for example, I haven't finished lecture for Thursday yet because I've had a lot of other stuff that has to get adjusted first. So I'm going to go home, do that. So stuff will get updated a lot more throughout the week. In this class, so that's just going to be how it is. This class is going to be getting assembled as we get through it. So the lecture, it'll have a pre-lecture version. Again, I don't know how early or how in advance that's going to be. I tried it last semester and thought it was pretty successful with trying to block it. So I'll probably spend every other Saturday only working on this class, so hopefully that'll just kind of have all those pre-lectures done early. Post-lecture will come up afterwards, so that'll have any writing on it, stuff that was missing, so I've worked out examples. That'll be there. Right, if you can't physically make it to class, these videos will be uploaded. So it turns out that the video is ready within about 30 minutes. This one was 45 minutes earlier today in statics. So probably about an hour after class ends is when the videos will be live. About, again, not 100% on that. So I'll probably basically after class on Tuesdays, sometime during office hours, those will go live. Thursdays, I'll probably just stay here till it's up and then that'll go. So it'll be there that day. If you're in person, you do not need to take the lecture quiz. If you are online, you do need to take the lecture quiz for that day. So it does mean awkwardly that you are gonna have to, at least until I start learning names, I don't have them. There's no way I'm gonna have them all down for like the first week or two. I will be having you guys somehow turn in something with your name on it. That way I can use it as attendance. As we get further in the semester and actually know what your names are, you won't have to do that. I'll just go through and give you the points basically right at the end of class. Still gonna be doing examples in class. Don't care what calculator you use, just bring whatever calculator you plan on using for exams. Bring that to class or have it with you while you do the lectures. Have it do the examples on that, because the more familiar you are with your calculator, the better you're going to be using it with. Any questions so far? We're going to talk about the syllabus. Do all of you have one? So A16, so we'll meet for 16 weeks of class. We are high flex, so we have in-person meetings Tuesdays and Thursdays, 2 to 3:15 p.m. PM. In here, Science 121. Wednesdays, we have labs from 2 to 4:50. So with the labs, we're going to spend some more time talking about this tomorrow. If you are not going to be here in person, there are some lab kits that you can rent out from the library. They have 7 over there right now. There are 13 of you. If I find you need more, if we need to check out more lab kits, I have more ready to go. I just have to bring them over. So once those 7 are gone, the library will contact me. And if we need to check out some more, we can check out some more. So it's okay if you can't physically come to lab every week. Those kits are going to be there. If you look at the schedule right now, which is this one's even worse than the statics one with being split over 2 pages. So the rightmost column, it says lab parentheses Wednesday. You'll notice, so for the first couple of weeks, so introduction, right? So the first 4 weeks, I actually have labs laid out. 6, 7, 8, I don't have any labs in there. There will be a lab. I'm just trying to figure out if we are in that area, what lab is appropriate. Week 10 doesn't have a lab. Week 11 has a lab, but it's lab question because I don't know what number it's going to end up being. So like I said, I'm still trying to figure out what labs we'll be doing in this class because this textbook is laid out pretty different from what I used a year ago. So I just want to make sure that we're doing labs that are relevant as much as possible to what we're covering in class, not just having you try lab stuff to have you try lab stuff. So please understand that this schedule for the labs, right, we have the lab period. We're never going to meet the full 3 hours. So that's fine. But right, those are going to be there for that. So like I said, working on it. Don't know how far in advance that will be. So those are all in this room. You can do live on Teams. For Wednesdays, I'll do live tomorrow. For Wednesday, when we do the lab discussion and kind of some lab things I'm looking for. Moving forward from that, I'm not gonna have a Teams meeting. It's scheduled, so if you wanted to ask questions live during lab, that's there already for you. But I'm not just gonna have this on for 3 hours. Silly to me. It's not also very useful for you. So technically you can join live on Wednesdays. I'm gonna heavily discourage it. because I just don't think it's gonna be that useful. I'm not gonna be lecturing during the lab period. Or you can do it asynchronously online. If you're doing that, you should get your lab kit from the library. You don't have to physically come, you can physically get it, or you can contact the library and they can send it to you, if you did. But for those of you physically here today, if you need one, I would just walk down to the library and go check it out. Any questions of general class format things?
So if we
Yeah.
come to the lab, you'll have stuff here.
Yeah, I have the same exact kits. They're just not scannable for the library yet. And also, one of the kits, I need to replace some of the wires in because whoever had that kit last semester decided to separate all the wires and you can just leave them attached to each other. And it's a little messy, but I have spare parts. I just haven't done it yet. But yeah, same exact kits with that. Any other questions? Yeah.
Is there a certain number of labs we have to attend to like pass the class?
I would recommend doing the labs. You don't have to physically attend them though, if that's something you're.
Different class, like a couple labs.
It's so because this is high flex, I cannot physically make you come to any. I cannot punish you for not coming. But if you don't do the lab reports, you will not get points for it.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Sorry, first day of class, it's today. Last day of class is technically scheduled for the 12th. If we look at the syllabus on page 5, you'll see that the exam is scheduled for Thursday. So it'll be closing Thursday. All of your exams will be online. We'll talk about that a little bit later, and we'll also talk about it once exam 1 starts to approach. If you are freaking out over scheduling, I have purposely put all of your exams not the same week as circuits. So I'm not double, other than finals, none of your exams are the same week. So it was really hard to not do that for one of the stuff, but we'll make it work. It's fine. So I really wanted to push this one back 1 week for the exam 3, but you already have a circuits one now, or a statics one. So they're staggered, so that way, other than finals week, they're different. I really screwed up all these animations, but here we are. So my office is Science 121. So if you came in through the door directly to your left, that's my office space. You can email me, you can message me on Teams or Canvas. Again, they're all the same to me. Will not be answering Canvas or emails during class. I do need to figure out how to get Teams in case people are watching live on Teams. I'll probably have that up on this desktop here, but muted, and then that way I can respond to you that way. But I'm not going to respond to you if I'm in a different class. Telephone, this is the number that I have. If you want to call me, you can. Don't have caller ID, so please at least introduce who you are. I'm not going to know what your phone number is. So your call, and I happen to answer the first time. Just say, hey, it's whatever your name is from circuits, and then you can ask me whatever you want. Office hours, so in the learning comments, in case you were curious, there's also a calculus professor in there having his office hours at the same time. So if you want to get 2 for the time of 1, we're both there. Tuesday, basically directly after this class. Thursday from 11 to 12 in this room. Friday from 10 to 12 in this room. So for the ones that are in this room, if you wanted to make a Teams meeting, I'm down for that. Probably not so much when I'm in the learning comments, just because it can get a little bit loud over there, even though it's part of the library. If you can't make these, you can definitely do it by appointment. One thing about contacting me, so most of you are in both statics and the circuits class. please try to message me circuits questions through the, if you're doing it from Canvas. Message me circuits questions through the circus, or circuits, not the circus, the circuits module, Canvas shell, and the statics one through statics. That way I can kind of try to keep some stuff apart. If you can message me from either one, it doesn't really matter, but it shows me, your name from what class you're sending it from. So if you're sending me circuits question about, you just like, I have a question about homework 1. I don't really understand the first question. Sending it to me from circuits, but it's really a statics problem, right? I want to make sure I'm actually able to help you and give you useful information in comparison to just being like, oh yeah, it's this, and then it's a little too late for you to fix it. So try to contact me through the correct Canvas shell. Yes.
Do you prefer us to contact you through Canvas, or do you mind if we email you?
You can email me, that I don't care. If you're in both, you might just want to be like, hey, I have a question about
X, Y, Z.
whichever classes, whatever. I mean, if it's a lab, it's only gonna be this class. But if it's like if you say homework 1, at least maybe state which homework 1. That's all it needs to be. I just want to make sure you have homework 1 in both classes. Your homeworks typically are gonna line up to be the same number, not always 100%, but that way, if you're like, I don't really understand this question, I can at least look at the right solution for it. But again, doesn't matter which way. Any other questions so far? So this is our textbook, Principles of Electric Circuits, Conventional Current Version 10th edition. So we're not gonna be doing any online homework for this. But this is gonna be the textbook that we're using. This is my first time using this textbook. I looked at probably 6 or 7 different circuits textbooks to try to find one that works out. It was between this one and another one, and the other one, it had some really bad worked out examples. And one of them was wrong. So I'm hoping this one's a little bit better. If you guys absolutely hate this textbook, please let me know. It won't change it for your class, but I can not use it next time. My first time using it. If you're struggling finding it or whatever, please let me know and I can help you out with that. I'll be doing a similar thing here for the homework where I have to take screenshots or snippets of the actual questions themselves. I want you to answer. So if you happen to only find the 9th edition, that should be fine. The questions themselves will be part of the homework assignment. So here is our course description. So there is some stuff in here that I feel like we should probably talk about in a little bit more detail in comparison to statics. So, right, electric circuits and their theoretical basis. Students apply theoretical tools such as network theorems and phasors to analyze electric circuits, including dependent sources, first and second order circuits, and 3-phase power systems. We have a lab. So for the first and second order circuits, these are going to come pretty much the last couple of topics we'll be covering in this class. They technically fall into the differential equations subcategory of math. So when we get there, we'll be spending a little bit of extra time talking about the math and kind of what is happening. For exams and stuff, I'm not going to make you actually solve a second order differential equation. You guys are, again, the co-requisite for this class is Calc 2. I'm not going to grade you on higher level math. I'm very against that. So we'll talk about this stuff, but it's not going to explicitly be something you'll see on an exam, or I think that would just only show up on the final. So please, when we get to that math, don't freak out. While we go through and talk about phasors, we'll talk about some imaginary numbers. Again, I don't remember, you talk about them at somewhere in calculus, but I don't remember where. So we'll talk about it then. You talk about them in algebra, but I don't think you really do math with them the same way in algebra from what I remember, but also algebra was a while ago, personally. So, I don't know, but I know they show up again in calculus somewhere. I want to say it was in like mid to late calc two. But I don't remember. All of calculus kind of blurred together for me, except for the bird example. But we can talk about that outside of class. Did you have a,
We took the same, calc BC, essentially, I don't remember it in BC, I definitely remember using it in 3.
okay, so maybe it's in 3. I don't, again, they all kind of
It
blur.
was been frequently. Like, we had some problems with it, but the vast majority of it was like in the beginning of Calc 1.
Okay. I try to block out the beginning of Calc 1 to be 100% honest, learning the limit stuff and then like learning derivatives like 2 weeks later. I was like, this was a waste of my time. So if we covered it there, I really truly blocked that out. But we'll talk about it when we get there. But there is, like I said, there's just some math stuff that spend a little bit of extra time with when we get there. So. But this is essentially the learning objectives with that. We're gonna talk when we get into. So for week 4 and a little bit of week 5, there's some stuff we're gonna talk about in there that talk about this reasonableness part. Because something that you're gonna find really annoying with circuits is you get to choose a lot of stuff. And depending on which way you choose, it's gonna determine what signs are positive and negative. So when we get there, we'll start talking about it and what that means, because I know for a fact, the first time I did math and I got a negative value for current, it freaked me out. That's just because I chose the wrong direction. So with this reasonableness part, we'll be revisiting it a couple times. The first time we're really gonna see it is week 4 or 5. We're gonna do circuit experiments. That's what that one is. We're gonna talk about the lab reports on Wednesday, the things that I'm gonna be looking for. With that, it is a little bit different from chemistry and physics here. And we'll talk about the reasoning for chemistry, physics, biology. A little different. We'll talk about why that's the case a little bit. So grades look a little bit like this. So you have homework. So your homework's gonna be due at the end of class on Tuesdays. The reason I have it be at the end of class is that way you're gonna stick around for office hours. It's a little easier for me to adjust the time. In reality, I hope you're not doing circuits homework during circuits class if you're here in person. That conceptual questions, 3 to 5 problem solving questions. There will be optional stuff on there, not required, but those are recommended. Oh, sorry, whoops. This. One point I had entertained putting the packets and the homework as one grading category. I separated them out. Participation, again, for those of you who are coming in person, that's just gonna be actually doing the work when I ask you to try out examples and things like that, working with others, all that fun stuff. If you're online, that's gonna be the participation or the lecture quizzes that are there. So the packets, because I'm starting this class over from scratch, I will also be making the packets from scratch. So I think with circuits, so I think with circuits, what might end up happening, I tried to make them a little bit smaller, packet wise, but it is very possible that the packet's not gonna be done all at once. I mean, like I said, I'm gonna try to plan it, so I'm gonna try to do like the entire packet worth of material at once. So hopefully it's all done at once. If not, you'll have like a volume 1 and a volume 2 type situation where There'll be separate assignments technically on Canvas, but it'll just also be one thing. I will try to have them be one complete packet at a time. See, but they'll have the lecture questions, some summary stuff, and some example questions. There will also be some questions that like help you kind of figure out what you're going through and doing for new types of questions. Extra practice. So for the quizzes, those are gonna get posted on Wednesday for this class. They are gonna be 100% online. They're probably gonna go live at the end of the lab period, so 5 o'clock. At 5 o'clock on Wednesday, the quiz will go live. It'll be open for 24 hours, then it'll close. If you have an exam, you will not have a quiz. No, I don't think that's very fair. So labs are gonna be 20% of your grade, so please make sure you do the labs. Like I said, right now, I think I only have 4 labs scheduled. So each one would be 5%. If I add 0 more labs, we'll add more labs, so that's not the case. But that's gonna be 20%. Oh no. I might have to fix this because I don't know what happened to the final exam that's scheduled on here. Oh, it's just, okay, it's just not on this. Okay, it's in the syllabus. It's just not on the slide. Okay. I can call. We're fine. Sorry, it's not on there. It is on the top of page 3. There is a still a cumulative final. So with all of the exams, they're gonna have some true, false, some multiple choice, and some problem solving. They are going to be completely online, with that. So they will be going live on Friday, early afternoonish, and they'll be open for 24 hours for that. So we'll talk about that a little bit more when we get closer to the first exam. The exams might be curved. I think this class, more so than any other class, is going to definitely challenge me on some circuit stuff because I have made some resistor circuits that are accidentally just way too long and way too tedious for no reason. So if that's the case, that is something I take into consideration when I grade. But again, if I screw up the exam, I understand that and I will take it into account. Or if, everybody just doesn't get a topic because I didn't explain it well, I'll take that into account. Yes.
Even if I'm grading, but this adds up to 105%.
I think it does, and I changed it in one place, but I don't think I changed it in all the places. It should add up to 100% on Canvas. But I will, I think it's quizzes.
Drop down to 10, 15.
I believe so, yeah. As I figured, you have them, because with the exams, that being 50%, I was like 65% seems a little high. And I just think I hit some numbers there, so apologies for that. I will fix it, and then that'll be version 3 of the syllabus. That's all one. But I'll double, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was quizzes I finished. Thank you though for pointing that out. Standard grading here. I do believe in rounding, so you have like a 79.5. That's an 80 to me. That would be. Please don't freak out if you're, within rounding of it. Besides the fact that I can't add, are there any questions about grading? There's gonna be no late work accepted. I don't have any makeups planned for anything. If, life though still happens, if something is upcoming, like, let's say you have a family member's, medical surgery, you want to be there for them, you're not gonna be able to take the quiz, let me know and we can work on it. The sooner you let me know about stuff, the more likely it's going to be for me to actually be able to go through and change those times for you. So, yeah. there's that. Please don't let me know like a week after the exam why something happened, because ideally I'll be done with the exams by then and the solutions are out there, so try to not wait a full week if possible. For stuff like that. You can work together on the homework worksheets / packets, whatever you want to call them, and the lab reports. So for the labs, we'll talk about it more so tomorrow, but you're going to be able to write those as a pair. So if you want to turn that in together, you're welcome to, but for the packets and the homework, you will have to do those on your own, or sorry, you can work together, upload your own solution. If you turn in somebody else's work, you will receive a warning, and then you'll get a 0 on the assignment, and then a academic dishonesty report. Quizzes and exams are individual. We're not allowed to work with each other on that. So please keep that in mind. For AI stuff, shouldn't be using AI for this class. You can try to use AI to create some circuit diagrams. They are wild. They are never going to be exactly what you want. I'll share some circuit diagram programs with you if you're interested with that, so you can kind of play around with it. There's trying to draw them on a computer if you wanted to do that. It's never very fun, so I'll share a couple programs with that for you. But you shouldn't be using AI. If you need any sort of accommodation, you need to reach out to the Office of Student Accommodations, or they'll kind of help point you in the correct direction for whatever it is you need. Right, so this can be at any point in the semester. So if you find that you need accommodations, 3 weeks from now, please reach out to me or reach out to this, and I'll help you connect to the right person. Or you can reach out to the Office of Student Accommodations right away. Questions about the syllabus? Homepage, yours should look roughly, it'll look a little bit different, but it looks somewhat similar. Right, you have your to-do. So this is stuff that is upcoming. All of the exams are in here. You'll notice that all of the exams are going to be due at midnight. So that means the exams are probably open for closer to 36 hours by the time it's all said and done. So those will be there. We've got our announcements. So since this went here, there should be a second announcement now that has tells you about the Teams links for classes, and it also tells you that I think I fixed the meet your classmates thing. Nobody has told me no, but I also haven't double checked. But I think I fixed it. And then there's some key navigation here. It's also on the sidebar here if you're looking for it. So we've got like the overview, which has a bunch of information inside of it. The syllabus. So with this syllabus, I did fix the first version that was uploaded had a wrong day for the office hours. So version 2 is up. I'll fix the percentages for the grading. Version 3 will go up. So it'll have the syllabus version, and then it'll tell you underneath it what's changed since the last one. So when I upload 3, I'll probably keep the bullet for number 2, which says fixed dates and times, because I don't know when you guys, if you downloaded the syllabus, what version you have. So that'll kind of be there. So apparently it's added up to 100 years, so maybe I'm misreading. So homework 5, participation 5.
Looks like, quizzes are 10%.
It says 15.
Does it say 13? The final exam.
Final exam. Okay.
Okay.
That's probably a little bit less stressful for the final. But yeah, so the final exam is going to be 15%. It is, yeah, putting a full-size screenshot into a PowerPoint slide really screws everything up. I'm sorry for that. But yeah, it's 15% for the final exam. I'm trying out this different percentage stuff for this class, so you're guinea pigging not just the textbook, but a little bit with how I'm grading some stuff. So yeah, I hope you enjoy that. I think it'll be fun. Here you have due dates. So you have, right, the exams are in already. Dates are fixed. The content might change a little bit. So if we find out we're going a little too fast and need to slow down, or I get really distracted in doing examples and stuff, right? The content might change on the exams themselves. But because you're going to do your exams online, I need to grade them online. So hopefully, so I have a way that I should be able to block you from seeing your scores. But I'll still post an announcement that tells you I'm grading the exams. So it's possible that, right, I've only graded part of your exam. You might only have, let's say you have 56 points out of 100, but I'm not done yet. Don't freak out. It will get finished. Check those announcements if you see your score jumping around a lot. Modules, they look different now, but kind of the same general format. So you have a welcome module that just has some general stuff in it. We have the introduction to ES 2210. That'll be lecture 1 and lecture 2. And then we'll start into our resistor once there. So they're organized. So it'll have the lecture. So it'll be lecture quiz. That'll kind of continue till we're done with the lectures for that module. Below it, you'll see the assignments. And then once we get into having labs, you'll see the labs there as well. This class is going to be a little bit out of order chronologically. So lab 1, which is getting familiar with the lab kit. You lasted a lot longer this time. I was told to try this. So your lab 0 will be out of, or lab 1 will be out of order a little bit, but you'll still see it in other locations. So it'll still be in the upcoming or the to-do list, and it should still show up in other places. It'll be in the weekly announcement for when it's upcoming for due date and stuff like that. With lab 1, I'll just give you a heads up now, because it will probably take time if you're going to be taking the class online, or you plan on just doing labs at home. That one will have 2 weeks to be due. Typically, it'll just be 1. That way we have a little bit of extra time to make sure that lab kits are to everybody that needs one. Questions on Canvas? Tips for the class. So again, I'm not super familiar with this textbook at this time. I don't know all the cool little things that it has. I do know it has some worked out examples. Instead of explicitly reading the textbook, I think circuits textbooks in general, of the engineering and physics textbooks I've read, circuits tends to be pretty bad. My personal opinion, I think there's some of my least favorite textbooks to read. So you don't want to actually read every word of it. I totally get it. So with that, at least look at the examples in there if you're not going to read it. They are worked out. Like I said, I don't know how great all the examples are for being worked out there. Watch or attend classes. See, please ask questions. I think the first couple of weeks, I think I'm pretty good at explaining stuff. So, but when we start getting into the loop and node method, branch methods, things like that, I don't think my explanations are necessarily perfect. I know what I'm trying to say, but whether or not I say it for like well are two different things. So please ask questions if I'm saying something that's confusing, or you're not quite get the math that's going on. For the homework, do the recommended stuff. It says 1 hour solving problems every day. That's a lot of time. That is in the ideal world. That's not necessarily going to be the case. But, you know, just spend some time thinking about circuits or doing circuit stuff. I'll call that a win. Form a study group and meet often. Some of you are in calculus 2, some of you are a little bit past calculus 2. Right, depending on where you are in the math sequence, that might make certain topics easier for you in comparison to others. If that's the case, right, meeting with that other student who actually remembers what happened in calculus 2 might be better than me, who remembers very little of calculus 2 as kind of what we've covered or what's covered. So working with your classmates is beneficial, right? You can still work on the packets together. You can work on those, the homework together, labs and things like that. But at the end of the day, you're responsible for being able to do the work on the exam. And come talk to me about whatever you want related to engineering, circuits, fantasy books, Baldur's Gate, whatever it is. Right. Feel free to just reach out and ask. The worst thing I can say is we can talk about it later, or I don't know, reach out to a different professor. All right, so I will give you an equation sheet for the exams. It'll be on top of the quizzes as well, but you are more than welcome to use your own equation sheet for that whenever, or with the quizzes and with the exams. So with this, right, this is your personal equation sheet. You are doing what helps you do this. So for this equation here, this is one of the 3 equations. I think this is a delta to y equation, so a configuration of electrons from one shape to another. This is one of 3 equations in here, so what you might want to go through and do is you might want to have pictures to go with this. So when I give you the equation sheet, it's just going to be equations. Or no, sorry, for delta to y, I do give you, I will give you the picture, but it's still beneficial to have it. So not assuming you guys know what delta is. So let me attempt to draw this. You are going to find very rapidly, I am not good at drawing resistors because I get lazy. So a resistor symbol looks like that in this class, and you'll find very quickly that I'm just going to draw essentially a squiggle, and that you should know that means resistor. Talk about more resistor symbols as we get to them. Please make note that it is not a circular squiggly line, because that's an inductor. Different thing. So, right, you have your delta, then it goes, oops, the Y. I forget which one is which. I always have to look at the picture, but these are labeled. So one set's ABC, one set's 1, 2, 3. And so you would have this here and you would be able to go, okay, so R1 takes these resistors in this particular order and puts them into that one. I don't remember what it is, and I don't know why. I can never remember. So, right, you can have this noted in the correct method. I'm not going to incorrectly put it on here because that's embarrassing. Right, you can have the resistors on there, and you can write yourself a note as to like tips on finding a delta. Right, so how do you find this particular delta thing? Doesn't always look exactly like this. If that's the case, how do you know which one is which? Things like that. So you can, you know, you can have that. I'm sorry, that's not technically a delta. That's a delta. Right, you can put whatever notes you have here that's going to help you figure out this particular configuration. Again, we're not going to see this for a while, but that is something you can put on here So for example, we'll see some notation relatively early on that looks like this. Anybody know what these symbols are in math? Not the R's for resistor, what are the other ones? Yes. Yep, you're gonna see this upside down T for perpendicular, the double parallel lines for parallel. You're gonna see that notation a lot. Do you remember that under extreme pressure? I don't know. Maybe it's something you put on your equation sheet. Again, these are 100% for you to help you with the quiz or the exam. I think just having really annotated equation sheets tends to be a little bit better than just having examples, because if something looks different, we want to make sure we're not just trying to shove that example onto the work that we're doing. Okay. Any questions about tips for what I have for helping you succeed in this class, or anything just in general so far? I know some of you did this for circuits. Entertain me. You could just write your name on it if you were in circuits. It's fine. I don't care. I'm still trying to learn names. I am not stellar at it, if I'm being 100% honest. So just at least put your name on here. That way I can make sure you get credit for the lecture quiz. And then again, I'm gonna have you guys tell me your name when you hand me the card to help me start putting faces to names. But while you guys are doing that, I'm going to stop the recording.